Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Romanian minimal house drums. So I've actually done a few videos in this style before, but I've learned a lot of new techniques that I think are really going to help you guys who are trying to make the style. So yeah, so as usual, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets from this video for free in the description, and if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because they'll be available there shortly without a download gate. And yeah, let's get started. So this is what you heard in the intro. We're at 127 BPM, and the first sound we have here is this kick, which sounds like this. So what this is just a pretty, kind of like soft, punchy, almost like 808 style kick. Just very deep and, like I said, like soft, I guess, and round. And yeah, so this is a pretty standard type of kick you would hear in a lot of Romanian minimal house. Yeah, not a whole lot to it. You can see I've just got this kick sample here. It's playing quarter notes. And then I do have a little bit of drum bass on there. You can hear if I turn that off and then turn it on, it's adding a lot of punch, and it really helps to bring the kick out and make it stronger in the mix. But yeah, that's the kick. The next thing we have here are these hi-hats. It's a hi-hat and a shaker, but they sound like this. Basically what it is I have this hi-hat playing on the upbeats, and then this little shaker kind of doing some extra percussive notes in there. So yeah, this is pretty simple. You can see it's not a whole lot of layers, just two hi-hats doing some pretty straightforward stuff. Usually with this style, you'll have like very busy percussion like I have here. And so just having like one or two hi-hats like this is kind of the move when you have that situation. So then I also have these in a group here, and we've got some processing on them together. So this just kind of helps to tie the hi-hats together. When you process things at the same time in the same way, it makes them a lot more cohesive, and like I said, makes them sound a lot more similar sonically. So then, yeah, so what I've got here, as you can see, I've got a saturator, just got the drive up a bit, I've got the bass frequency up quite a bit as well. Here's without it. And with it, so you can hear it's just giving a little bit more power to the hi-hats. And then the last thing we have on here is just an EQ8 cutting out the low end, and yeah, that is it for the hi-hats. So the next thing we have here is this clap, which sounds like this. And so what this is it's a pretty small little clap you can hear. It's just like this little hand clappy kind of sound. And then I have this echo on here. And so the echo really helps to bring it to life. I feel like this is a nice technique. I hear this in a lot of minimal house. Like, basically what you do is you have a clap like this that's just really small, and then you put an echo like this that's really fast on it. And you can hear it kind of makes it feel like it has a longer decay, because what's happening is you're not really getting like if we give it a really slow time, you can hear like that's a really obvious delay. But when you have these faster times, like I said, it kind of sounds like it's more a part of the sample and less like a delay. And then the other key to this is just turning the dry wet down. You can see I have that down very low. And yeah, it just kind of brings this clap to life, I'll show you, like, here's what it sounds like if I turn it off. And then with it on. So yeah, that is the clap. Next thing that we have here is this little operator percussion, which sounds like this. So what this is this little percussion sound I made with operator. You can see I just have it playing these little like 16 notes there. What it is it's some white noise, which is set like this, going into a bandpass filter. And then the bandpass filter, you can see I've got the frequency there, I've got the resonance there, and then I have an envelope on there. So this is kind of like having a pitch envelope, like. You can hear the more I turn that up, the more sharp it gets. But yeah, for this style, you don't want like really sharp percussion. You want something a little bit softer like this. So I have the envelope there. And yeah, that's the sound. And then I have a few effects on here as well. You can see, I'll show you if I turn these off. Here's what it sounds like. And then with them. So yeah, so the first thing we have here is this echo, which is doing dotted 8 notes. And you can hear that. Kind of throughout the beat. What I like about this is it's kind of adding this like it's kind of giving it cool, like a more kind of more 16 notes in there. You can hear it's like really syncopated, the delay tail. And if we turn the echo off, it doesn't have as much like cool kind of syncopated feel to it. So yeah, that's the first thing, the echo. After that, we have the saturator, which you can see is just set like this. Here's what it sounds like without it. And then with it. So what we're doing here is I just have the drive up bit. I've got the bass frequency up a little bit as well. And yeah, this just really helps to take the sound coming out of operator here and just bring it to life. You can hear, like, without this, it's very dull and kind of dark sounding. But the saturator really brings out that filter. And yeah, so after the saturator, what I have here is just an EQ8, cutting out the low end, just kind of cleans it up, makes room in the mix, and that is it for that operator percussion. So the next thing that we have here are these clicks, which sound like this. And I'll show you in the mix. Here's what they sound like. I'll show you like with the hi-hats and the clap. So you can hear what these are. There are just these little like clicky things. Basically, I made these using operator. You can see we have like this first one here. And then the second one. And yeah, they're really similar sounds. And then I had them going through some group processing. So yeah, so for the first one here, the way I made this and the way I made both of them is basically using this kind of simple FM sound. You can see like we have a sine wave here and then another sine wave doing some FM. And then I have a pitch envelope on those. And so that's what makes it a really fast click. You basically give it a really short envelope. Like you can see I have the amp envelopes. If we turn the pitch envelope off. Like it's this really short little sound. But then the pitch envelope, that's what gives it the click and makes it percussive. So that's the first one. And then the second one is really similar. Like I said, they're made the same way. There's a little bit of difference. Like you can see, this one we don't have that second oscillator doing the FM. And then we have the pitch envelope on there. And then so I have these in a group together because I wanted to put the same processing on them since they're really similar sounds. The goal here is I wanted this to kind of sound like one sound to you. That is just like, I guess, kind of changing in pitch or whatever. But yeah, so I have some effects on here. Here's what they sound like with no effects. You can hear they're in there, but they're not as cool as this. Like, that's definitely adding a lot more to the beat. So the first thing we have here is this erosion. Here's without it. And then with it. So you can hear, this kind of adds like a nice clickiness to the sounds. Like, the thing about erosion is it's a really good way to, yeah, like add some more kind of high-end, like sort of clickiness. And that's what I'm doing here. You can hear, again, if we turn it off, they're kind of like deeper and more sine wavy. But then when we add that, there we go. It kind of sounds almost more like a bell. So after that, we have this filter delay. And what I'm doing with this, you can see I've got these all three set to different times. And yeah, I'm using this for the delay on here. You can hear when I turn off the delay, it's a lot more boring than when I have it on there. So I like using filter delay for this type of stuff. What I really like about filter delay is you have these three different delays and they're panned in all different ways. And then you can have them at different times. And so this allows you to create some really cool rhythms because you can hear, like, say we just get a ping pong delay on here and just do like eighth notes. It's cool, but the delay is very one-dimensional. You know, it's just doing one rhythm the whole time through. Versus with a filter delay, we're getting like all these different delays kind of playing off of each other. And, you know, it can be a cool way to add some more sounds in the background. Like, if you listen, this is a very busy beat, and it's a beat that is very, like, in your face. And it's very, like, it feels like it's moving and it's happening. And part of that is this delay. Like I said, like having stuff like this adds more sound to it and kind of builds up your sounds and makes them take up more space in the mix, which in the case of something like this, that works. Obviously, you know, that can also be an issue if your things are taking up too much space in the mix. But this isn't doing that. It's just helping to make these clicks a little bit more interesting. So after that, we just have a bit of saturation. And yeah, you can see I just have the drive up on that. I'll show you without it. And then with it, just beefs them up a little bit more. And that is it for the clicks. And then the last thing that we have here is this little like operator. I guess it's kind of like a hi-hat. Here's what it sounds like. Basically what's happening here is this is playing in the background. You can hear it. You may not even have noticed it upon first listen. but I'm sure you can hear it now. Basically what's happening is it's adding kind of a cool like stereo aspect to this, because if you listen to this, you can hear it's panning all around, which I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And yeah, this is a really good way to add like some kind of stereo stuff, because you can hear without this. It's very much just down the center. Save for the filter delays, there's nothing that's really like wide like this, but when we add this in here, it's not even something you're like noticing, like I said, when you're first hearing it, but it definitely is adding a lot to the stereo field. So what this is it's the sound that I made using Operator. If I turn off the effects, you will be able to hear a little bit clearer what's going on. Basically what I did is, you can see I have this thing playing 16th notes here, and what it is it's just some white noise, which you can see I have a pretty short envelope on, and that's going into a bandpass filter. So this is something I do a lot on here. It's like making these kind of like synthesized hi-hats. And yeah, this is why I said this was like a hi-hat, because this is basically the raw sound. And then what's happening here is I have it going into this bandpass filter. So what's going on with this is it's auto filter. You can see, yeah, we have a bandpass 24 dB per octave of attenuation, or decibels, dB, whatever you want to call it. And then I have the LFO on there. And so this LFO is moving the filter. And you can see I have the phase on that set to like there. So that's what's kind of making it move like back and forth from the left to the right ear. And yeah, so you can hear this is really adding a lot of cool stuff to this. But that is what's giving it that like kind of panning effect, as well as the filtering effect. And again, this makes it more in the background. Like we don't really want that in this track. We want something kind of more like just a really, really cool, well-designed background sound to add to the overall beat. So after that, we have this echo, which is just doing dotted eighth notes, just adds a little bit of kind of cool rhythm to it, you know, because you have this thing moving around, but what's happening is it's constantly changing the position. So while, like, say, while the filter is here, the echo is playing the note when it was playing here. So you get kind of like this cool cascading filter thing here. Yeah, you can hear like the echoes are going all from the left to the right ear like that. So yeah, just have that on dotted eighth notes, and then I have the right ear on dotted quarter notes actually, just to give it more stereo width. You can kind of hear what's going on there. And yeah, and then the last thing that we have on this chain is the saturator. And so here's without this. And then with it, so you can hear this is really like beefing this up. It gives it a little bit more like kind of texture as well, I feel like. Especially with that bandpass with the high resonance going into the saturator, it's always going to distort a little bit, but that's giving it texture here. And yeah, so I have to drive up on this. I got the bass frequency up a little bit as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it's just a strong saturator, which is taking the sound and really like pulling it up. And yeah, so with that, that is pretty much it for this one. I've shown you everything here. And yeah, so as always, thank you so much, everybody. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Let me know if you want to see me do more minimal house. I haven't talked about it a lot recently on this channel. Like I said, you can get the project file and samples and MIDI and presets and all that kind of stuff for free in the description, so make sure to check there for that. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.